Alrighty, Legend Crew, welcome back to another episode of Legend Ethics Share Dreams. This guest star over here, his name is Mark Jaeger. We worked together for a few years at the CBK in Westwood, and we've gotten to know each other. And he's an actor, actually,
yes.
Which is really cool because I met you when I first came out to LA, and I didn't really know a lot of actors. I didn't really know a lot about the business. So I do have to say, I'm going to start turning red, but I really did look up to this guy because this guy knew a lot more about the business than I did. So I'm going to let him take it over and share his experiences with it. Where are you from, and let's get it going with that.
Well, I grew up in Germany. My parents are German, but I was born in Texas.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of like the reverse that you always hear. My dad was in the military, but the German military, and he was stationed in El Paso.
Oh, wow.
So I was born there, and then they went back to Germany when I was 6 months.
Okay.
So all my childhood was Germany.
Okay.
So, but I have dual citizenship, so USA was always in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
Like just having that opportunity. And when I graduated high school, I came over here.
Right when you graduated high school is when you came back to the US?
I had to do a social year.
Oh, okay.
Back in the days in Germany, you had to either join the military or you do a social year.
Social year.
Yeah.
Social
So
year.
I worked in a retirement home, which it's tough.
Yeah.
It's really tough. But it teaches you patience.
Oh, I bet.
And listening skills, which for an actor is really good. But yeah,
I bet.
it's rough to see people.
So what have been the steps going into acting then? I mean, how did that arise? I mean, was it always something that you wanted to get into, or?
I consider myself more like a late bloomer.
Okay.
When I grew up, I played basketball competitively since I was 7. And I coached my own team throughout high school.
Wow.
So that was my life. But I love movies. Like I would go to the movies before I go out on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Even if my friends wouldn't come, I would go alone and just watch everything. So movies was always like up there, but when I grew up, basketball was also up there, and then I didn't really, realize or acknowledge the fact that, hey, you could be an actor and be in those movies.
Yeah.
I just enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah.
But then I did some theater in high school, and I did more theater in college when I moved here, and
Okay.
that was it. That.
Did you come straight to LA, or?
No. I moved to Colorado.
Okay. Which is where you go for acting, obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the mecca of acting. If you haven't known that, Denver is where it is. No, I moved to Denver because I had to apply online for everything like housing and financial aid. And my first plan was to coach basketball and get a degree and a teaching degree and stuff like that. So I took the first school that accepted everything, gave me like prospect of where to live and money, and my parents were good with it, and that was Denver. And I majored in English and minored in theater eventually.
Wow.
That came, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a different step. I mean, but that's cool. I mean, that's kind of like how I did it as well. I was studying kinesiology in college.
Yeah.
And it was the same concept of, I was always watching my favorite films on repeat.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
And they're old films too. Patton, Prefontaine with Jared Leto, Troy with Brad Pitt.
German director.
Yeah, Legends of the Falls. You know, I mean, and some of classic films. I was just watching them on repeat, and there's just something about them. It just kind of captured me. So I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty cool that you have that same background. So what were your steps to coming to LA then? I mean, how did you make that move? Because I mean, that's a scary move.
It is. But moving halfway across the world is, I already had that.
True.
You're
still on the same coastline. I
exactly.
guess.
And my family was back in Germany, so I didn't really have anything other than the friends that I made in Denver holding me back. And once you take theater classes or you get bit by that bug, there's nothing that, you know, it's either LA or New York.
Yeah.
Nowadays it's also Atlanta, but back then it was either LA or New York, and I didn't want to do Broadway, so I knew I wanted to do film and TV. So
Yeah.
LA was.
Yeah, well that's awesome. So what was one of the biggest obstacles that you faced trying to get into this?
The ones we all still have.
Yeah.
I think, like getting the audition, getting cast. knowing where to start when you first move here, you have no idea how expensive it is.
Yes.
First, and then when you get here, I wasted a year or two just getting settled, finding a job that can sustain.
Absolutely.
And still give me time to go to auditions.
Absolutely.
You know, it's so expensive to come here just to live, but then you have to pay all the stuff for acting, the headshots, the classes you need to make connections, but then you also need the time to go to auditions during the day. So your job has to be flexible, but it has to give you enough money. So the first 2 years or so, it was rough. Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing.
Big juggling act.
Yeah.
Huge juggling act.
Yeah.
But it's been really cool. I mean, you've been posting a lot about different projects and stuff like that I've seen. You're posting some cool pictures, and it's weird to see you out of the norm like that. But
the uniform.
Yeah, out of the CBK uniform. But it's cool. So I mean, you've been doing some great projects, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And they're going to film festivals and stuff like that.
They have.
Which is good.
Typecast as the German.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always World War II movies that are being filmed, and I guess Germans are always the baddies. I've done so.
Well, I mean, we got to break that norm. I mean, you know.
Yeah, that's why I go out for everything. Unless there's like a breakdown where it says no accent, I submit myself, and
absolutely.
I told my agent and managers then just let me go in. I mean, that's the world we live in. There are accents everywhere.
There are.
You know, like even in Midwest America, there's almost no town where no one has an accent.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, and that's a huge development within this past generation, for sure. Even within the past 10, 20 years, I'd say.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's been my problem too. Is like, though I am half Chinese and half German, British, Hungarian, German's kicking ass over here. Even though I am half white, half Asian, I do look primarily Asian, so I get cast in a lot of those Asian roles. But it's a norm that we have to break out of. I mean, Hollywood.
It is.
It's not necessarily politically correct in any way, but I mean, we gotta. It's cool that there are actors that understand that we're not just here to get roles and so on and so forth. I mean, yes, that's the first step, but we also have to break that social norm.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because we all have that love for expressing these stories and telling these stories, and I mean, like you said, we've always had that love and passion for watching those films. It's such an honor and pleasure to do so. So I mean,
it is.
Whatever opportunities come our way, I mean, we're always appreciative of those.
Yeah. But now that you say it, that is probably the biggest hurdle, my accent, which I know you can work on it, and I hate when people compare, hey, but Mel Gibson or Russell Crowe, they have an American accent if they want to. Why can't you just turn it on and off? Well, their first language is English, so it's not really an accent, it's a dialect for them, you know? Like, for me, it's German is my first language. So it takes a little bit more, and then the money factor comes back in. If you need a coach, vocal coach or whatever, to help you, that costs another $100-200
absolutely
a month or a week.
It's expenses. I mean, because that's one thing as actors is we are the products. We're the products, and we have to sell ourselves to the best of our abilities, or at least make ourselves sellable, so our agents and managers can get us out there. I mean, so that's hard. I mean, it's a lot of it is having to be proactive, which is the hard part too, because you don't know where to start, like you said. But I mean, at least we're doing what we can, and we're doing what we can with what we have. So I mean, that's cool. I mean, hopefully it leads to more opportunities.
And I had accent coaches and stuff, so I am gotten better. But I know it's still there. And for me, if you work on a script or a scene and it's emotional, that's when it comes out more. And I don't want to hinder that, you know? I don't want to be thinking about my accent. Am I speaking English with no accent? I just want to feel it, you know?
Absolutely, it makes you conscious of the work, and it puts you in your head, and it makes it less organic.
Exactly.
Absolutely. But before we wrap up this episode, I mean, are there any final thoughts, any final tips that you can give the viewers in terms of chasing their dreams? I mean, not necessarily actors, but anyone chasing their dreams.
I actually thought about it when you asked me to come on here. Celebrate your victories.
I like that.
You know, like for an actor, we have so many like goals and things that we check off on our like journey to stardom or fame or being a working actor. all those little victories, they deserve to be celebrated
and acknowledged. Absolutely.
Yeah. Like for you, what is like a moment where you're like, I made it, even though it's not like you made it big, but for you it was important?
Yeah, well, that's a hard one. I mean, because I do celebrate my small victories, but by no means have I felt that I've made it in any way, or have everything that I've done up until this point have been steps in the right direction, I feel. Which I've had to learn to, as you said, acknowledge and celebrate. Because if I haven't made it yet, sometimes I feel like I'm still lacking in some regard. Which is being too hard on ourselves.
Exactly.
Because we do, every step that we've made thus far, they are steps that we weren't making yesterday. You know, and it is making us progressively closer.
Yeah.
Because there is no deadline. There's no deadline.
No.
There's no rule book saying you have to get there by tomorrow. But yes, I mean, that's actually something that my dad and I were talking about not too long ago when I called him for Father's Day. I mean, because he knows that I can be a little rough on myself sometimes.
Yeah.
In terms of, if I haven't made it, then I feel like
you're lacking.
I'm lacking, and I need to keep going.
Yeah.
I can't stop. But as my dad said, there's a fine line between passion and obsession.
Yeah.
You have to be able to celebrate those small victories, and so I don't know if there's been any one monumental kind of occasion thus far.
Not monumental for the big picture, but
Yeah.
I'm sure we all have the same goals as actors.
Yeah.
There's like steps that we have to cross before we can move on.
Yeah.
Finding an agent, finding a manager.
Oh, absolutely.
You done that?
Yes. Yeah, I have. Yeah.
So that's a big one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who don't have that.
Yeah. True.
Getting SAG,
I have not done that.
but you're eligible.
I need one more to be
One
eligible.
more. See, but once you have that,
That's another
that's
step.
a huge one.
I will be happy about that one. That
Yeah.
one I will celebrate. Absolutely.
But those are the victories that you have to celebrate.
Yeah.
Because those remind you of where you want to go, and those are steps that you have to take.
Absolutely.
You know? So I feel like we have to remember that. Because you get auditions, that's a victory.
Yeah.
But we don't feel it anymore.
We
that
don't,
way.
because I mean, but that's also, I mean, changing your mindset, which is what I feel like you're trying to say, which is great. It's changing your mindset. Every audition that you get, if you're going out there putting your best effort and showing your absolute best,
Yeah.
that's a victory in itself. I mean, you can't be brought down by the rejection and not getting the role, because it is very easy to get stuck in that. It is
Yeah.
very easy, because I've gone out for some very big projects, and I mean, and that's why I haven't seen certain films that are out right now, because I went out for those roles and I did not get the roles.
I know
and so
which ones.
yeah, so I'm kind of bitter about
Yeah.
that. But at the same time, like I said, I can't let that rejection get to me.
No, you
because
can't.
I mean, you have to have the mindset of, I know what I bring to the table. I know my values, and I know that I can hold my own once I'm given the opportunity to do so. So it's believing in yourself.
Yeah. And just getting that audition. I mean, there's thousands of submissions.
Yeah.
And they invited maybe 100 or 150, and you're one of them.
Yeah.
That's a victory. I know I don't feel it anymore either. Like, I have to remind myself that, hey, you got invited to play. You get to
Yeah.
show what you have. So, but it's hard when you don't get a callback or you don't get cast in that project.
Absolutely.
To see it as a victory.
Yeah.
But every time you do get cast, that's a victory.
Absolutely.
You know, every callback is a victory. So I think that's the biggest thing, to just celebrate your victories.
I love that. I mean, so that's a great way to wrap up this episode. Thank you very much, Mark, for being on this episode.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. I mean, I haven't seen this guy in a little while, so it's great catching up with you.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you supporting Legend Ethics.
Of course.
I mean, I have a lot more planned moving forward. So,
Yeah.
I mean, one thing I'm interested in doing is actually Little Legends or Young Legends, where it'd be like a mentorship thing,
yeah.
where I'd have a whole bunch of kids, and I'd ask them, what are your dreams? And depending on what their dreams are, I'd say, okay, we'll meet up with these legends who've been on the episodes already, get to know them, ask them what they've done so far and stuff like that. And it'd be a great way to interact with the kids and show them that your dreams can come true.
Yeah.
You know, start them young with that legend mindset, and they'll be winners for life. You know,
cool.
so if I find any little theater kids, little actor kids,
Hey.
I'll have them speak to Mark, and you guys can start doing monologues and all that kind of stuff, like scene study classes.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I mean, that's something that I want to work towards, but I have to get more guests on the show so I can have the diverse dreams to pluck from. Be like, you match up with him, you.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah, I mean, build that legend crew. You know,
I like
yeah. Let's build the legend crew, guys. Let's keep it going.